everything just felt new again. I felt like I was a freshman coming in. And then they was telling me, and I had to realize that I've been here for this might going on my 4th year, so I gotta realize that I'm an older guy. I can help these young guys out, go through this experience way smoother than what I went through. So then that's when the leader attributes and traits started kicking in again.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Hello, and welcome to another 3 Mall Wildcat Weekly Player Spotlight. I'm your host, Cole Manbeck, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by K-State starting safety Marques Sigle, one of the captains on the 2024 K-State football team, and someone Coach Chris Klieman and Joe Klanderman consistently speak so highly of. Before we get started with Marques, got to give a big shout out to Riverbank Brewing, as always, in Council Grove, who has partnered with Wildcat NIL to support K-State athletes and to help us bring a K-State football player on the show each week. Riverbank Brewing, located just off Main Street and the Neosho River in Council Grove. Really cool location and an awesome town. They brew their craft beers in-house. They also have several cocktails made with vodka or whiskey on their menu, mixed with freshly squeezed lemonade they make in-house as well. Really good stuff. Go check out Riverbank Brewing, located just 35 minutes from Manhattan. The owners have put a ton of work into the brewery. It's a really special place. Has a huge, large outdoor covered patio that overlooks the Neosho River. TVs inside and outside to watch college football. Frequently have live music there, trivia contests, much more. Riverbank also has beer to go, so you can swing by, pick up some to have at a future tailgate, or have whenever you're watching the Cats, wherever you're at when they're on the road. Open Wednesday and Thursday from 4 to 10 p.m. and Friday and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Go to riverbankbrewing.com for more info. Go support Riverbank Brewing, a terrific local-owned business by wonderful people who are also supporting K-State and Wildcat NIL, and enjoy some craft beers and freshly made cocktails in the beautiful Flint Hills. Marques, thanks so much for coming on with us, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing really good after last Friday's victory over Arizona and enduring what was an electric atmosphere. And let's start off right there. And typically I tee these things up by getting to know the guys a little bit better, including you. But let's start off with Friday night's win over Arizona. First off, Coach Klieman said that was as loud of an atmosphere he's heard in his time at K-State. What did you make of the environment on Friday?
I'll just say, starting at the beginning of the week, we try to implement the crowd noise, and this week it was super loud, and we all was like just not used, because we usually don't be that loud. So going on Saturday, I think we was a little more prepared, because the crowd noise it seemed like it was different to us, but we couldn't really tell. But when we got on the field, it just was a whole different atmosphere. It's just on third down, first down, it's just the crowd. You just hear the crowd more than you can hear ourselves talking.
How big of an advantage is that, the home field advantage that you guys have at Kansas State? How much does it help you guys on the defensive side of the football?
It just helps us huge. Just seeing the crowd, just how much they're into it, just the love we get from our community, the support we get, it's unreal.
What does it do, though? I mean, does it create challenges from a communication sense, even with your home crowd? Like, I know you've got the new helmet technology with the headset technology, and I think Austin Romaine, your middle linebackers, typically have that. But how does it affect you guys from a communication standpoint?
Yeah, it definitely just be definitely adjustment, just with him being in the middle, where we as the safeties have to come closer so we can relay the call to the corners. That'd be a little difficulty when we screaming and shouting what's the call. And we're trying to line up in a rush so we can see our checks, we can see the formation. So that definitely is just adjusting to it each week and getting used to it. So I definitely say that's been a little difficult, but we've been handling it well.
You know, Marques, I was at the game Friday, and when I got home this weekend, I rewatched the TV broadcast of the game, and the announcers noted specifically that you weren't pleased with the effort maybe a little bit at Tulane. You spoke to your teammates as a leader regarding that game. What was your message to the guys after the Tulane game?
It's just mostly it's us versus us. I feel nobody can get in our way but ourselves. So I told them at halftime, mostly to the DBs, because I feel we was making the most mistakes. And we were causing the explosive plays. I was just telling the DBs, we gave up them 20 points. We gave up the explosives. Like they're not doing nothing that we haven't seen, we haven't prepared for. We're beating ourselves, and we just got to correct that. And that's mostly what we did on Friday.
From my eyes at Tulane, it looked like mostly communication, maybe issues or passing guys off, thinking one guy might be at a different coverage than another. What would you say were the biggest issues at Tulane?
I would say it was some miscommunication, but some of it was just having bad eyes. Just we were seeing a little bit of different formations that we haven't seen, that we didn't practice, but we just got to rely to our principles and our rules. And some guys was just getting thrown off by the formations and wasn't seeing it correctly.
Coach Kleiman and Coach Klanderman have raved about you all offseason. Coach Klanderman said at one point this offseason, and I quote, "He's not a huge verbal guy. He's not a quiet guy by any means, but he's not the loudest guy. Just a guy that goes about his business every day, works his butt off in practice, never has a sense of entitlement, works like he's still trying to earn stuff all the time, and players see that. That's how good culture gets started, by getting guys like that in the program." That's speaking about you, Marques. How would you describe yourself in the role of being a leader on this football team? And is it something that maybe comes natural to you or something you had to work at?
I definitely say it's something I had to work at, just because growing up as a kid, I definitely was like the underdog. I was a smaller kid, so nobody really looked up to me as a kid. I looked up to people. So just doing that as a kid, then once I got older, I finally hit my growth spurt, then the times has changed and they started looking up to me. So I'll say about like high school, that's when it started. I started developing them leader skills, and people started to look at me and seeing what I was doing to take that. So, and then once I got to college at NDSU, I kind of restarted that process again, just learning from Josh Hayes, from Michael Tutsi, from Dawson Weber, and some of them guys that I looked up to when I was at NDSU, seeing what they did just with that type of culture and how they led us with winning games and winning a championship. And then when I got to Kansas State, at first, I didn't come in as a leader, like, oh yeah, I'm an older guy. At first, everything was new to me just because everything was way more, you have way more resources. Everything just felt new again. I felt like I was a freshman coming in. And then they was telling me, and I had to realize that I've been here going on my 4th year, so I got to realize that I'm an older guy. I can help these young guys out, go through this experience way smoother than what I went through. So then that's when the leader attributes, his traits started kicking in again. So that's when I started helping guys, and just the trust that my teammates gave me, just the confidence they built up for me, just as we got through the season, that's when it really picked up. And they're definitely right. I'm not the most verbal guy. I like to let like Austin Moore take over when it's like workouts. But once we step on that field, that's when you hear my voice for sure.
Wait, and I want to get more into that transition that you had from North Dakota State to Kansas State. So we'll circle back to that in just a moment, Marques. But also, I just want to hit on, you guys held one of the most prolific quarterback-wide receiver combos in college football to just 7 points on Friday night. That was their lowest point total at Arizona in their last 33 games, dating back to 2021. What did you guys do so well to be so effective against Arizona?
Our game plan was to try to take away number 4 the best we can, and I definitely thought we did better than what we did, seeing the stats after he still had 100 yards. But we definitely limited their explosives and took away the big plays, 4 touchdowns that they usually have. So I definitely said we did our job, just trying to take away him as a deep threat, but it made him turn into trying to get run after catch, and he definitely wasn't well with that. But mostly just trying to double him the best we can and make the quarterback use other guys. And we seen how that turned out.
Yeah, it turned out pretty well. And I would say, Marques, from watching it as a fan, I mean, you guys did a pretty darn good job against McMillan. He may have had 11 catches for 138 yards, but really it felt like 2 of them were on a couple plays, made up probably 40% of his yards, and then you guys really tackled well. I mean, I was really impressed. Like, how would you grade or assess how you guys tackled on Friday night? Because to me, that was the best that you guys have done this season.
Yeah, I'll give us A-, A+, or A, just because everybody was swarming. It wasn't just single tackles. It was just, we were all running to the ball. We was all finishing to the ball. So it wasn't just like, oh, it's solo tackles. He got to make a play. It was, we was swarming them. We was putting pressure on them.
I do have to ask you this, because you've now faced, in the past year, 2 of the top 3 projected wide receivers in the 2025 NFL draft, in Luther Burden from Missouri last year, Tedero McMillan at Arizona. you're probably going to face the projected top wide receiver at Colorado and Travis Hunter later this year, though he's also a corner. Look, I know Burton and McMillan are different players. McMillan's huge, and they have different skill sets. But how would you evaluate or maybe assess the challenge of going up against each one? How do they compare? Who's harder to cover? Like if you could if you could evaluate or assess that.
I'll say when we played Luther Burden, I feel how they schemed him up with screens and just his run after catch made him different from McMillan. McMillan, he uses his size well. He goes get the ball. He uses his size to get the ball and create that separation. So the difference between them is just the run after catch. Like Luther Burden, he's not always a deep threat. He's not but he can get a 5-yard catch and turn it to 60. McMillan, he's getting 30, 40-yard catches, and it just adds up here and there. So I'll say those is the difference I said between them. It's just the both of them have speed-wise to get the ball every time, but just how they do it is totally different.
Yeah. Take me through the Garber interception. What did you see on that play, and what type of scheme you guys were in there?
So our scheme was at the beginning was a lot of man, a lot of bracket to get pressure on the receiver, and then that play with Keenan, we switched it up and went cover 3, and I felt our disguise helped him thinking we was in man again, think he still had that whole shot. And then he tried to squeeze it in, and then Keenan ran his line and then jumped the play.
So from my vantage point, initially I thought he was open, right? I thought the throw was maybe a little late, and I thought initially it was going to be a touchdown. But then my dad was sitting next to me, and he felt like you guys kind of baited him in to that throw, and that Keenan was going to be able to get there and jump. That made it look like he was wide open, but it was more of a bait and switch. Is that how you would say it, or how you would see it?
I definitely say our middle divider. He low-key created it because he took a guy that he shouldn't have, which made that seam look open. And our backside, VJ Payne, he made it run open. So it just it looked like it was open, and it was open, but Keenan made a great play just overlapping and making it to – we talk about no seams, no posts, and he made sure we didn't have no seams on that play.
You guys go to Provo this weekend. It's a kick at 9:30 p.m. I mean, I don't even recall, Marquise, a K-State game kicking off at 9:30 in my lifetime. I'm sure there's one I'm missing, but I'm just curious, what's your normal game day routine like, and what are your thoughts on the late kick?
So my usual game day is try to wake up in the morning, shower, play some music just to get in that zone, just get my body ready just mentally. And then as we go to breakfast, just listening to music. And as we go through our meetings, special teams, just trying to lock into the little details as we get through the walkthrough, seeing what I'm missing, what I need to be keen. And then as we get that break in between, just watch a little bit of football, watch a little bit of film, and still rest a little bit, just lay my body down just to mentally reset. And then once it's time to go warm up and go to that pregame meal and last walkthrough, which is mostly locked in. But what really get me locked in is after we get our pregame meal and go over our notes, is Coach Kleinman's speeches and then our video at the end. I feel Coach Kleinman gives amazing speeches that just gets us ready, gets us mentally prepared to go to war. And then the video we show is just making people highlights from past games. And it's just my mindset is just I want to be on that every week.
Yeah.
So that just motivates me each week.
That's awesome. Do you have a preferred kick time as a player?
I'll say I don't mind the late games just because I get to watch football at the beginning instead of miss it. I feel the good games is in the morning, so I like so the late games I don't be minding them because I get to watch the 11 o'clock and a little bit of the 2:30 or 3:30 games, and then but my preferred time I'll probably say 11 a.m. Get it out the way, get it out early.
That's where I'm at when it comes to road games, Marquise. I like to I like to have a little bit more of an atmosphere a little later in the day for home games, 2:30 or later. But home games or away games, get it out of the way at 11 and get the W. And then I can enjoy college football a lot more rather than being stressed. I don't know how you guys deal with but it's out of my control. You guys get more control over it, obviously. So I would want to get it out of the way early when it comes to being on the road. Plus the atmosphere maybe not be quite as juiced. The environment, but it'll be a tough one, obviously, on Saturday night. against BYU. Hey, so let's go back to your time coming out of high school. You're from Omaha, Nebraska. Just tell us about what your upbringing was like.
So like I said, growing up, I definitely wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the most recruited. So, growing up, I was undersized, and I wasn't afraid of people that was bigger than me or had better skills than me at that time. I tried to surround myself around them just to see what they was doing, so I can adjust my schedule or my routine to see what can make me better, what can make me faster, stronger. So that's mostly what I did as a kid, just surrounding around the best. Cause I'm very competitive. Anybody they gonna say I'm the most competitive guy they met. So just as a kid, that's just what built me just to get to where I am. So then once we got to high school, that's when the recognition started to come. My sophomore year, when I was the only sophomore or really playing significant snaps, and then ended up going to the championship and leading the game in tackles and winning that championship. That was like the real recognition that, oh yeah, I can do this for a living. And then after that, my junior year, had another great season. And that's when NDSU started coming in. And then my senior year, same thing. And then that's when I got to NDSU. And then NDSU was just another story.
Well, now did Coach Klanderman or Coach Kleiman recruit you all at all to NDSU when you were younger at the high school level? Because I know they were at K-State already when you started at NDSU, but did you have a relationship with them at all before you?
No, I had the new staff. I had Coach Eds Coach Eds recruited me. Coach Kleiman left after, before I got recruited by them.
Yeah, I just didn't know if they had recruited you at all as a sophomore or junior in high school. So take me through how you kind of got involved with K-State in the recruiting process. And obviously, I'm sure you were familiar with Coach Kleiman having, what he did at North Dakota State. But I'm curious how your recruiting process, once you entered the portal, how that came about and how you ended up at K-State.
Yeah, so my trainer back at Omaha, Nebraska, he went to NDSU. And his head coach was Coach Kleiman and Coach Klanderman. So that kind of how that connection started brewing. Once I realized I wanted to transfer, so I hit him up. Just communicating, because I know he was going to Kansas State games, and I was just trying to see if I can use that connection. So I texted him about that, seeing what he was thinking. And then as I finally entered the portal, I texted him again, seeing what K-State was thinking about me. And he was like, they really like you. They like your tape. And then mostly once you officially be in it, they'll hit you up. And then that's mostly how that connection really started. And then with my teammate Josh Hayes, he was there my freshman year, ended up transferring, going to Virginia, and then finally transferring to Kansas State. That kind of, I modeled my game after Josh, because I felt we was pretty much the same aggressive type of corner, safety, slash, and I kind of put that connection together too, because he was leaving. That was his last year. I could step up and play the same position as him.
Yeah, and you both were terrific, or are terrific. Josh Hayes was terrific when he was here, and you've been great for Kansas State. Marques, you played corner mostly at North Dakota State, correct?
Yeah,
right. What's the hardest part about transitioning from corner to safety in this 3-3-5 defense at Kansas State?
I'll say the biggest transition for me was just playing man in that all that space, just adjusting and not being able to be completely off or completely pressed in some situations where you're stuck in between that 4 to 7 range, and you gotta be patient. So it was just me building that patience to play man. I'll say that was the biggest challenge for me.
Do you like safety more than corner? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, definitely. I like to get in that run fit. Yeah, and I played safety in high school, so it was mostly like the same position I play now. So it's like being at home.
Yeah. You started 12 games last year, and you tied for the team high in tackles with 63. You were second on the team in pass breakups with 10. That's pretty impressive for someone making the transition to Big 12 football. But I'm just curious, what were some of the challenges you faced in that transition last year, particularly early in the season, and a new position and a new defense?
I'll definitely say just the game of speed, and just how to watch film so you can slow the game down. That was the biggest thing for me last year, is just trying to slow the game down the best I can. So when I'm out there, it's not coming at me at 1,000 miles per hour. I can actually diagnose the plays, diagnose what I'm seeing. And I'll definitely say the biggest game that, like, threw me in the fire was Missouri. Just helped me. Like after that, I need to build my communication. I need to run my side better. I need to be more vocal, be more the leader to my side. So that was definitely a game that made me realize I can play on this level and how I need to step up.
I know Coach Clanderman's a safeties coach, terrific coaching up the secondary. Van Malone's terrific as a corners coach. Coach Kleiman's also a former secondary guy. Like how involved is Coach Kleiman with you guys in the secondary, and how valuable is it to have a head coach with that experience there as well?
I'll say he's involved into everything, not even just the secondary. He's involved with every position, whether it's special teams or offense and defense. He always comes to our meeting in the afternoons, and then he'd be with the quarterbacks during I don't know when he'd be with them. I know he'd be with them after practice with the offensive staff, but I know during fall camp he'll be with us in the morning, and then in the afternoon he'll be with the quarterbacks, and then he's just giving free game to both of us just so we can make each other better, iron sharpen iron. So he's involved with everybody, but with having him just being specifically for the secondary is just how much knowledge he knows, and just how much knowledge Coach Clanderman knows. It's just you gain so much.
A few more, Marques, and we're going to get you out of here, and we're going to get to some fun ones here in just a moment. One more question for me. Donovan McIntosh was a guy that was on the field some on Friday night against Arizona. Asa Newsome obviously was out there as well. You guys had a lot of young guys that have been rotating, and you guys have a lot of depth. Like, who is somebody that, or it can be multiple guys, that you're seeing right now that's a younger player that's really stepping forward that you're seeing growth from?
Mostly those two is the biggest. I'll say Austin Romaine, just going on his second year, how much better he got with just handling all that, being the mic, especially with the new communication, getting it out to us, and just going out there and making plays. So I'll say Austin Romaine, Cheedy, Ryan, Davis, all those guys. I'll say on the offensive side, Trey Spivey, he's stepping up. Those guys I really like pay attention to and try to help push them because we're going to need them as the weeks get longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Best trash talker on the defense. We always ask all the guys this. I'm always curious for everybody's thoughts, because we've gotten a name that's pretty surprising that's been a frequent appearance on this list. So who would you say is the best trash talker? Before I say everyone tells us.
Are we talking about in game or just in practice?
It can be either.
I'll say in game, who's been the best or the most trash talking is Jacob Parrish.
All right.
And then in practice, I'll probably say Dylan Edwards.
All right. Yeah. We've got a few names. I was going to tell you Austin Moore has been somebody that's...
Oh, yeah. Austin Moore definitely. He definitely... I should have said that one. I haven't really heard him in game, but in practice, he'd be on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you played the NCAA video game much?
Most definitely. I haven't played it in about like 2 weeks, but I'd be on it.
Who's the best? Who would say is the best player on that game on the team?
Me.
Yeah, I got you.
Me for sure. There's somebody that got a better record than me, but I'm better than him. And it's Kendrick, but I'm definitely better than him. The game he cheating for him.
Well, what is he looking at your plays? Like, are you on the same screen? Yeah.
Nah, we be playing online.
Yeah, all right. Look, one of the things that I did enjoy this, like at media days and stuff, like you took it in stride. Some of those guys giving you a hard time about a few drop picks last year. Like, yeah. How much do the guys on the team give you a hard time or ribbing about that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just go back to the competitiveness. We all try to challenge each other, and in practice, we really that's when nobody sees. That's when we really be on each other. It can be on me, it can be on VJ, Jordan, Jacob, Keenan. We just how much competitive we are just so want to get those. So in game, we can have fun, we can celebrate each other, but in practice, we definitely challenge each other to catch everything.
Well, I'd love to see one from you this weekend in Provo, Marques. 3 straight games with a non-offensive touchdown by you guys to open the season. I'd love to see you make it 4 with a pick 6 maybe on Saturday in Provo. Well, hey, Marques, appreciate you so much for coming on the show. It was a really fun conversation, really engaging, obviously, and best of luck on Saturday and the rest of the season. And as always, a reminder to go check out and support Riverbank Brewing in Council Grove and Wildcat NIL at catsnil.com. For Nick Springer behind the scenes producing the show and Marques for joining us, I'm Cole Manbeck signing off on our 3 Mall Wildcat Weekly Player Spotlight.